tell me what you think right now about the state of black leadership, especially in music and in our culture.
Man, I mean, I feel like you have a few people who are consciously aware or cognizant that how important it is for us to use our platforms to push the boundaries and push our line. You know, like I can think of a point in time where hip hop was about that. You know, I feel like Ice-T, Ice Cube, Uncle Luke, Tupac. You know, C. Dolores Tucker was stomping on Tupac CDs in the White House. Uncle Luke was on Donahue, standing up for his right, for his First Amendment right. Ice-T put his life on the line
for Cop Killer.
He made a song about killing a cop because he was tired of cops killing our kids.
Right.
And these are the same issues that affect us today. And the fact that these guys stood up and they put their shit on the line. You know, NWA. You know, when they got arrested at that show, that was in Detroit.
Right.
My brother was at that show.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like they put everything on the line, not to be famous and not to be on the radio, but for their First Amendment right to be heard. They wanted to be heard. And I feel like now, you know, we all have platforms and we can say anything we want to say now. They're not censoring us now. The only thing we can not talk about is gay, Jewish. It's just a couple things.
No, it's all that.
Yeah, it's just a couple things that they'll censor, you know, for various reasons. But we can pretty much express ourselves freely.
Can't say that.
You can't say
hymens. Okay, let's make sure we
could express ourselves freely, and not a lot of us have a lot to say.
Right.
You know,
we getting paid off now.
Yeah, we getting paid off now.
A lot. Like they were doing that shit for free. Now the money came later. Bro. But they didn't know it was coming. You know what I mean? Like motherfuckers is like, you know, saying, nah, man, I don't want to risk my goddamn $25,000.
Yeah, and everybody, and I'm glad you said that, bro.
I got an opportunity, man, to make $200,000. I don't want to fuck that up.
Everybody talking about, you know, they want to be billionaire this, billionaire that, billionaire. Like, how are you gonna expect to make $1 billion if you're afraid to lose a couple $1 million?
Yeah, that's real.
You know, and we don't really, us as black men, black people, we haven't had justice, man. So we don't know what rich is.
That's real.
You know, none of these football owners are opening up their books and showing you what's being generated. You know what I mean? Right. Like, we're still making the least out of all of this shit that we're generating all of this money and we're still making the least. Yes, man. Hip hop, our culture took over the fucking world, man.
Absolutely.
The world. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So if we collectively actually controlled our culture in terms of ownership or just had a little bit more economic inclusion, you would see more black billionaires than you've seen. Yeah. Period. Because I mean, that's where, you know, it's when you just think about the effect that we had on the world through movies, you know, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood.
Sure.
Yo, man, I watched these movies, man. It made me love Cali. You know what I mean? Like, it made me intrigued with Cali.
Right.
Like, I didn't know these things were going on in this way. Like, it made me put gang culture on a pedestal in my mind. You know what I mean? As I just thought it was just some intriguing shit.
I mean, I thought it was real dope how they got them came together and stood up against the police. Like, when I found out that the Crips were a community group that came together for the purpose of kind of like protecting each other from police brutality, that to me was some dope shit.
Yeah.
Kind of got out of hand somewhere between there and here, but still, that was the dope shit. If it was ever, you know, we always talk about a civil war, you know what I'm saying, you know, whereas, you know, white supremacists against fair and decent whites and the rest of us people of color, if we come down to that, which is really, I think, you know, the weakest position that we could be in,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if it comes down to that, the Crips, the Bloods, the GDs, the Vice Lords, the Latin Kings, the MS-13s, the Nation of Islam, that's our motherfucking military.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So right now, while, you know what I'm saying, as things, either progressively get better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
We need to understand that those who have been practicing, conditioning oneself, and preparing for the moment, you need to recognize when it's time.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to step into a position and organize yourselves accordingly. Because I've never seen anything change in life if you don't change anything in life.
You ever heard of Derek Grace?
Yeah, of course I have.
Yeah, so I got.
He's been a guest on the show.
Yeah, that's my dog. That's my dog. So
he's a friend of Expeditiously.
Yeah, so I actually made skits out of some of those videos that he put.
A word.
And I used them on the album.
Okay, or allegory.
Yeah, because I feel like to teach a child, like, not whether people agree or disagree with what he's teaching his kids, he's teaching them something.
That's right.
He's teaching them something. They're learning. They're listening.
That's right.
You know, so when I called him to get it cleared, you know, and just to tell him how much respect I have for him, I thanked him for inspiring me to look for those teachable moments with my children.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it makes me feel like some people get it and some people don't. You know, like America isn't one of those countries where you can just go day to day. You know what I mean? Like there's things being put in place, you know, and there's always an agenda around you.
Absolutely.
You know, so you got to kind of find your place. You got to kind of find your place, and you got to figure out a way to look past the conflation, look past all of that, and see things for what they really are. And the thing about us, one advantage that we were able to have is that we got into hip hop, and you know our popularity grew, so we elevated to a point where we were actually able to see it for what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know, I always tell my youngins, when you get to that point, 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna like what you see. You know, that's what happened with Byron Allen. He got to a point, he seen, oh, so they're not letting us have a seat at the table,
right,
on this level.
Right.
Now I get it. Okay, so they'll lease this, but they won't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And it's interesting to me, man. It's interesting to me because it's like we in a position now where we got to kind of take seats.
Absolutely,
you got to take it.
You know what I think the weirdest shit is?
Yeah,
the weirdest shit is, hey guys, please stop oppressing us.
Yeah, please.
Will you please treat us fairly? Will you please stop being unfair to us? Because the odds are, if you're being treated unfairly, if you're being oppressed, it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's being done because someone else wants to maintain a significant advantage over you.
There it is.
And they will not cease to do so unless by force.
Yeah, just because you're asking,
it doesn't even make sense to ask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Either you're going to stand up and make the shit happen the way you want it to happen, or you're not.